Okay, I'm back finally with our cover and our hinges. So one thing that I do want to go through with you is what we're going to do first is we're going to cut for our hinges at 7 7/8. I like to cut mine just 1/8 of an inch shorter than my page, and I'm having some lighting problems. I thought it was my new shop light, but it's not. I think it's the camera itself. It's kind of going in and out. So I hope we're not going to be needing another camera. I'm trying to keep it to where it's focusing, and I left it 12 inches long. Now, one thing, we're doing a bigger album. We've got longer pages, and they are heavy. And one end will be closed, but we're looking at some weight here. We want some bigger hinges. And this is what I do when I have bigger hinges. And I'm going to give you the measurements as we go. I've already pre-measured because I knew I'd mess it up if I hadn't, but these are really easy. What we're doing though is we're making a bigger hinge. And I've done this before. See, it's not just a 1/2 inch. Because I want it up in the book, I want more holding power on those pages. And it's not long enough. We are going to add the piece on, excuse me, onto the back. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start with our usual 1 1/4. This is actually really easy. I've shown it where I've gone, instead of 1/2 inch, I've gone 5/8. Well, this is going to be 6/8. But it still gives very easy measurements. And the nice thing is you've got more of a hinge to sit inside of your page. So we're going to start at 1 1/4. So you can score at 1 1/4 and score at 1 1/2. Now, your next score line, if you were to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you would have 6. But this is really simple. Just go to 2 1/4. And ignore, if you can see that I did mess up, but you know, there's no need to waste it. I just fixed it and can still use it. So 1 1/4, 1 1/2, 2 1/4, 3. Now we want a 1/2 inch gusset. Got to have a 1/2 inch. We want 3 1/2. Now we're going to go to 4 1/4, 5. 5 1/2, 6 1/4, 7, 7 1/2, 8 1/4, 9, 9 1/2, 10 1/4, 11. And mine should be 11 1/4. And I will fix that. Now, when I mess up on my hinges, if I know, let me show you, because a lot of times, especially when I was new, I would throw this away. I would have freaked out. Do you see how I scored wrong? It should have been this other one. So what I do is I turn it over. I press that baby right out. Now, if it had been inside of my gusset, yes, I would have thrown it, not thrown away, I would have put it aside. If it had been the gusset, yes, there's no way to hide this. This is going to be inside the page, not a problem. So now, we make sure our 1/4 is going to go to the back. I don't have wings. So that's the other thing. If you're wanting to do this as wings, it's going to be a little difficult. But let's go ahead and pull these up. We are going to have to add a piece. And I'll show you that will happen at the end. But now as you're folding this out, you see where I boo-booed? Not a problem. It's going to sit inside my page. But you've got a nice big hinge. You don't have to worry about a small hinge and is your page going to hold, because you've got it, it's good size. And you've got more room for that page to sit down. And that means there's more for that page to grab a hold of. And then with your 1/2 inch gusset, you can, on this one, you really, if you're going to make the bigger hinges, you can't really go bigger on your gussets unless you're going to use, whoops, another piece of paper, and we'll be having to add on to this, and I'll show you. So with your score tape, which I'll be using both. So I'm going to put, oh, I need to rescore for this. This is where I get, but see, when I turn it to the back, you don't even know I messed up on that score. So not a problem. Then you can work it out. Just turn it over and press it. It doesn't take it completely out, but it's good enough. See, it takes that edge out. I should probably use my 1/4 inch score tape. That's okay. And start with this one, 1/4 of an inch on both ends. Sorry, I want to make sure I don't go there, my new score line. So I'm just going to bend that backwards for a minute. There. Now I know exactly where it's at. I don't have any 1/2 inch here. Actually, a 1/2 inch would be ideal. Let me just grab one. Sorry to leave the camera like that, guys, but I'm not going to turn it off because it's having trouble refocusing. So I went and grabbed a 1/2 inch. Sorry about that. And what I'm going to do, I have my 1/4 inch here. I'm going to leave a space. And you know, this would be the ideal time for 5/8 of an inch, but we have glue. And I'm going to fill that in with my art glue, which is okay. Give it some little extra holding power here. Score tape does very well. So does the art. Now, I'm going to go right back with my 3/8. Now the 3/8 will go on our 1/2 inch gusset. So you might have something that looks like this. Score tape, space, score tape, score tape, space. Score tape, space. That's our 1/2 inch gusset. Space, score tape, and then space. So it kind of just goes like that. Now, if you are new or used to using tie back or anything, I don't. And so you may not be comfortable when the way I do the back, but I promise it will hold. You probably could work tie back over the back quite easily. And it also does depend on the paper you're using. So what we're going to do, and I'm going to need my glue, my art glue for this, because I'm going to fill in that spot. I'm going to remove this, and then right there, where it didn't quite go to the edge. I do want it to be on the edge. And pull back. And you'll start seeing all your score tapes come together. Oh, you might be hearing the wind pick up. I'm going to have to close the windows. Then once again, you're going to start seeing all of it come together. I hope we don't lose power just because I got started recording. This has been long overdue. I did the pages, and every time I went back to try and get the cover made, there was another project waiting to be done, and I apologize. We have another project coming up. Oh, and I have to tell you, I'm pretty excited. Lori from our creative team is also doing it, and I'm going to be doing it. We'll be using Bo Bunny, their calendar girl, and it did come out last year, but it came out too late, so none of us were able to really get a project done for the calendar, but it's still available. It's beautiful paper, and I cannot wait to do that. Okay, now I'm going to pull these back, and you're going to see how nice and lovely your nice big hinges are. I mean, those suckers are going to hold those pages. Okay, now when we get to the back side though, so I'm going to push these all back down, just work them down. So when we pull these over, you can see we have about an inch. Wow. Okay, let me see if I can get this part done, and I think I'll have to turn off the computer and we'll have to come back. So we're going to go ahead and remove our score tape. And as you can see, I do have that middle one. Let me turn this over. I have an issue here, sorry. It still wants to bend back. There we go on my... There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to leave this one on. Only because I need to now measure. And I'll be honest with you. There is no reason that can't go down onto your hinge and be just fine. But most of us just aren't, you know, we want that extra. But I didn't want to add it onto here and pull it over. I want it to just be its own piece flat. So you'll need to have another piece, and you should have some scraps. I'm going to cut it 7 7/8 long. The same as my hinge. Okay, now I cut mine just right now at 3 because we didn't measure beforehand. So I want to, let's go ahead and measure. See, this is the beauty of making your bigger hinges. It doesn't, wow. Let's cut this at 2. 2 or 2.5. And I think I'll have to put this down. Cut a little off. Just cut it to size. I may have to put this down and come back because we're getting some thunder here. I'm going to cut a little more off. So there's no exact measurement. What I'm doing is just basically measuring it here for the middle. Now, mine's not exactly the same length, and that's fine. If you are wanting to, you could put a piece of lightweight chipboard back behind this. And I do that a lot of times when my albums are larger. You just take your lightweight chipboard. I have ink all over too. Sorry. So that ADD of me, squirrel. I see something. Cut your chipboard, lightweight chipboard. I wouldn't go with the heavy. And you can put that down. And I'll do that sometimes. So you can remove your backing as soon as you get your middle piece. Like I said, your hinges are already made. This is just a little added extra strength. And I'm going to go ahead and get get this on. And then I'm going to have to turn off the computer. So we will, shoot, I was hoping to get this all done in one sitting. Don't think it's possible. Okay, I'm just going to go over the middle. Place that down. And there is your hinges. Okay, I'll be back and we'll record more after the storm passes. Well, the storm has passed. What I'm going to do is try a little different angle at recording. So I hope this is a good angle because I'm trying to get more room here for when I do the cover, because we have, you know, a good long cover, and I hope we'll give this a try. We'll see how it looks. So we've made our hinges. One thing we want to do now is we want to apply our score tape. And I am going to use a 3/8 of an inch score tape. Like I said, we have some bigger pages. We want to beef it up a little. I'm going to start with a squared off edge. And I'm going to apply it just like I do on my 1/4 inch. Now I'm going closer to the top. And around we go. And as you're making these hinges, you'll see how nice and beefed up. I mean, they're strong. It's kind of funny. I put the video on real quick to see where I had left off, and the dog heard the thunder and took off running. So I noticed it is in the video, so you get to experience a little bit of a thunderstorm. But it was a nice thunderstorm. It sure was good for sleeping. But we're in the clear tonight. I'm hoping to get this completely done so we can get it up. I know there's a lot of you that's been waiting, and I apologize. And this is definitely going to be written. Tammy, our writer, has already started. She watches my videos after they're made, and then she is starting to write them. They're PDF form. And there's 2 ways you can get the written form. You can email me. You can message me here on YouTube, and I will shoot you the PDF copy. Or you can get it on our Facebook group, Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations. The only thing that I want to say is we've written it because there's a lot of people who have commented that they do so much better with it written. You'll watch the video the first time, but then if you have the written instructions, this is what we're doing, and this is why we're doing it. But I would ask that you don't change it or share it, or don't, you know, try. I know it sounds silly, but don't resell it. And but other than that, you know, they're yours. Enjoy it. Print it out. Take it to your crops with you. That way, if you put them in a notebook, because we're working on getting everything written, it's just going to take a little time. And yes, they're still available for free. They're going to still, even though we're writing them, and you're going to be amazed. She's a professional writer. It's not like she's just off the street. She grew up, her family was illustrators for a big company with books. So the quality is just outstanding. One thing that I'm going to do is, I'm not going to cover the back yet. I'm going to be using 8.5 by 11 sheets for my cover. And so I will use the scrap pieces. Now this is where we want to measure our hinge. So mine is 2 5/8. It's that mark. Let me show you right after that 1/2 inch. Hope you can see okay. So basically I'm going to make, let me see, I really don't want to go 3 inches, so I'm going to go 2 7/8 of an inch wide by my 8.5 inches long. Now, I already cut 2 covers, but we're going to have to cut more. I'm going to do a little different on this. I want this cover to be able to accommodate my Prima Dome, my snow globe. It's going to be on the front cover. And we're going to actually be making our cover. I was going to do the fold over, but it's going to fold under. I want it to fold under. I want to be able to have this whole palette to work on our cover because I want the snow globe there. And so I've cut my 2 pieces that are 8.5 by 9.5. So I'm just going to set these up here. Now we need to cut, these were some scraps. So they're both the same width because the 2 pieces of paper, and we know we need them to be 8.5 inches long, but I didn't cut this yet because of the size of my hinge. So I now know my hinge is going to be 2 7/8. Another way, if you don't want to measure, just put it up here. And I like there to be about 1/8 of an inch. And I'm having to use black cardstock because I ran out and we haven't had it delivered yet. But black is okay. You can still use black. And I want 1/8 of an inch over here. So what I'm going to do is my cutter is off camera, so I'll just turn the camera off. I'm going to go cut these at 2 7/8 inches wide by 8.5 inches long. This is the memory dome that I was just talking about, and you do get 3 of these in a package, and it's going to look fabulous. One of the design team members, she did a tutorial on Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations and how to use this, and so I'll be doing this along with you also. And once we put it down and we can put our snow and all kinds of fun stuff in there, it really gives you a whole new dimension to your album. So let me get all my pieces out here. Okay. What I've got for our chipboard is I have the 2 8.5 by 9.5 pieces, so they're 9.5 long and then 8.5 wide. So I cut my 2 spine pieces because you need 2, one for each end, at the 2 7/8, and I always like to double check. And this one, it's not for the hinge, it's because we need to have them to be the exact same size by 8.5. So I then cut another piece that's 8.5 inches long by 5 inches wide. Like I said, instead of a fold over, this is going to fold under, so we'll be placing the magnets different so I can put the dome on top. And what I'm going to do now is we're going to start here. Look at your fingernails. Yes, squirrel. If you watch my videos, you know long enough. That's me. Okay, I'm going to start with our paper for the cover. And I've already cut 3 sheets of 10, and I cut them at 10.5 by 12. So let's make some room here. And this black, I realize, makes that glare. I don't know what else to do. It's shiny, and that's what happens. I apologize. Let's make some room. So I want to also get my score tape. We're going to start by connecting the ends. So this is going to be 12 inches long. At the end, just go ahead and place your score tape. Or if you're using a liquid adhesive, I would still go ahead and, do a darn glue. When it dries, it looks like shredded plastic or dead skin. I know that sounds gross, huh? I would put a line here, and then I would still put another line here. So we're going to remove our score tape backing. We're going to get long here, and I'm trying to keep as much in the camera as possible. We want those to overlap. Hopefully it's on pretty straight. Excuse me. What is it? We always start filming and then we start coughing. And I don't know what I did with my other bone folder. I had it last night while we did a live tutorial, and I really like it when I burnish edges, but it's here. And goodness gracious, I'm picking up all kinds of stuff for my mat. Let me just do a quick wipe off with this wipe here. It's amazing with the static electricity and what our mats pick up. Sorry. Okay, let's let that dry. It won't hurt our paper. That'll be on the inside. And my fear of turning the camera is I'll start talking and not turn it back on, and then we'll have lost it. That's why you had to watch me clean it. Sorry. Nope. 1/4 inch. So we're just going to connect these 3 because you're going to need it with this, with the length, with the amount of pieces, and you'll want your 1/4 inch. I've used it for years. Always showed it in the videos. I love using it for my spacer, and when you're making a large album like this, it's really important to have that space, because you don't want your album to crack and you want it to have a nice edge to it. Okay, I love to use my quilting ruler, so let me get that handy. And you can see how long, but I'm happy that we're getting a little bit better of a picture here. And sorry, the dog just hit my mount. The joys of having animals, huh? Now, the important thing here is we want to lay our album out correctly, because this can be an absolute disaster if we lay it out wrong. So we have a spine and a back piece. And right now, I'm not concerned it's hanging over that edge. I'm going to have to move the mouse. What I'm concerned about now is that I just lay it out correctly. We're going to have to be doing some, move out backwards so you can see pretty good. What I'm going to have to do is move it and strategically place it. So when this album folds up, it's going to fold up correctly. So on your left hand side is a cover, back cover, spine, cover, spine, fold over. Now let's get it placed so that we're not going to have our spines, and I do keep hitting the camera. It's kind of with this view, sorry. I have a connect where I've connected these together. So it's going to have to land in the middle of the back of my cover. Nothing I can do, but that's okay, because it's going to be pretty well hidden, and you will have quite a bit left off. We're going to cut that off, and we're going to be able to use that anyway. And that's not going to work either. So this is what I mean. We're going to have to kind of work it, because we need to have an inch down here at this bottom. And we really want this. Our seam is here, and I want it as close to in the middle as possible. Just is not going to do it. So when you're doing a cover that's just more than your front, back, spine, this is kind of what you have to do. And I am trying to avoid having to put on another piece. I think we can do it this way. Okay, I have a connection there. The only thing I'm not liking a lot is here is my one cover and there is my connection. So it's only about 1.5 inches in. But I really can't go any further. Let me try one last thing. No, we're going to come too close there. So that's kind of on this layout, just the way it's going to have to be, even if I turn pieces. Okay, so we're going to be about 1 inch in, and actually, you know, it'll be fine. It'll hold. It's fine. Won't have any seams. Next seam will be here. Let's just do one last check. So we've got to have that 1/4 inch spacing, and we'll make it. I'll try not to the camera and bounce you around. So we're going to start here. And this is where I really love using the 8.5 by 11 sheets. Well, so, and I apologize about the lines. It's that time of night. I'm going to turn this over. So as you can see, it's a little big. What I like to do is lay it down. I don't have to have it completely the size. So these pieces will get used. I'm just going to make a mark here and a mark there. And I'm just going to go over to my cutter. And I'm going to cut that off. And save your pieces. We will be using those. Even if we piece together, we still use those. Okay. And I'll tell you, this just makes the process go a lot easier now. Sometimes when I'm peeling off the whole sheet, I run into issues. So I'm just going to do half. Whoa, half. Kind of like your wallpapering. And I'll tell you, these are good sheets to keep. They're great if you're going to paint things, especially if you're painting your metal pieces. I like to use that, and then it's non-stick. I use it with a lot of my glossy accent projects. And I'm feeling really lost without my other bone folder. Oh well, we will survive. Okay, I kind of, now you got to remember we have to have about 1 inch. This is my connection piece. It's hard to see, and it's only going to sit 1 inch inside. So now if you never used the sheets before, really no different than score tape still. If anything hangs over, I just push it. Now this is where I use my quilting ruler, because your quilting ruler has a lot brighter markings, easier to read. There's my 1 inch. Because you need 1 inch at the top and 1 inch at the bottom. And then I can use my forearms to hold it down as I put my piece there, push against there, and then I know it's pretty well straight. Quarter inch score tape. Now we're going to space. And I apologize about using the black on black, but like I said, I'm out of the other. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and grab that piece. So this is where, for these, I don't want to cut into the sheet. I'm just going to go ahead and use this, and then I'll use my 3/8 of an inch. Or my 1/2 inch. There we go. And put a 3/8 next to there. I'm going to leave my score tape backing on just to show you. A lot of times in videos I remove it, but it is hard to see with it being black. I like to have my ruler down, and I know that white is my 1 inch, so I'm just going to hold it with my arms to keep it tight and put this right up against my score tape. And then you can keep going and just leave it on, or you can remove it each time. It doesn't matter. Just butt this up against your chipboard. Now my middle piece, score tape, I'm going to cut it down just a hair. We'll be needing those. I'll use that for my next piece. Let me get my quilting ruler. And I love the quilting rulers. I don't know why for crafting, for scrapbookers, they can't make the other rulers with more vibrant markings that last, but they don't. So it's just like my mat I'm working on is a quilting mat. Whoops, it's much larger than a scrapbooking mat. You can see it's huge. It's the whole size under here. It's like 24 inches. And it was cheaper. Okay, make sure I quit talking here for a minute and line this up. I just really think that those sheets make the process so much easier. I used to dread the covers because, to be honest with you, your arms get tired and you go through so much tape doing that. And I was like, oh my goodness, give me the sheets. I even use them on the inside now. Okay. And our ruler. Now, I'm going to turn this upside down. There is something I do want to check. I may need to go over. Oh, no, we're fine. If I was going to have to make a little more room, I'd remove this tape backing, and I would have set this just on top of the score tape a little bit more, but it looks like we're going to be fine. Now I'm going to still use my score tape sheets with that 5-inch piece. So I'm just going to cut one real quick. And then I'll be using this piece on the back. Of course, I won't need it all, of course, on our hinge itself. Trying not to hit the camera, sorry. Oh, that's one thing I didn't do. I should have checked. There we go. Ruler. Line it up there with that edge. And we're good there. So what I want to do now is I do want to take these off. If I don't do it now, I will forget. I'll get my hook. This is going to serve as two purposes. This is also going to pull down our top paper into those hinges, and which makes it lay really nice inside your book. Oh. And a spacer, so it has served its purpose. One thing I want to do, I just want to do some folding up here. Now you'll see everything's in the right orientation. I've done it before and it's not. And I'm just going to do some slight bending just to help things out. Now this end is much too long. And I'm going to put it into my large cutter and I'm just going to cut it off. So it's about 1 inch long. Yeah, we just need 1 inch. This is black, so it's a little hard to see. So we are now good to go. Now we do have to use our score tape. And really the size doesn't matter. You can use 3/8. I'm just going to use 1/2 because I do use a lot more of the 3/8 than I do the 1/2 inch. So I have a lot more 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to use it. I hope that makes sense. It's not used as often. I will be using the art glue with this. And oh, since we brought up the art glue, I have a lot of emails asking, well, if it's art glitter glue, the company's name is actually Art Glitter. And this is their multi-purpose glue. So it is a art glitter glue, which is really nice because it dries completely clear. So it's great to use with glitter, but the company, their name is Art Glitter. And that can be confusing. I've had a lot of people ask, why are you using glitter glue? Well, it's not. Art Glitter is the name of the company. And the glue is their all-purpose glue, and it's fabulous. They do have their fabric glue coming out. Now, the only difference between that and the glue is it is waterproof. I mean, they've made it so you can wash it and use it on fabric, which for us, well, we're not going to wash our mini albums too often, I hope. So, you know, the art glue works just fine. But that's going to be just kind of a personal preference. So we've got our tape all on. Pretty good to go there. I can put my tape up out of the way for this moment. And now I'm going to cut my corners. Remember not to get too close. If you're using a tool or you're bending it back or you're just winging it, you need about 1/8 of an inch. And sorry about hitting the camera so often. It's just right there by my arm. I felt it was more important to get get our album in. Okay, bring your album up. Let's start pushing it against. Oh, let's not. I really don't know what I've done with my other bone folder. This is very... Oh, I think I know where it is. I think the girls took it. They were using it when they were unloading some boxes. They use it to open the paper. So I'm going to use this one, and everywhere I have a seam, what I'm doing is I'm just kind of, well, because I'm using Cartabella paper, that's why. Let me tell you, if you're, whatever paper you're using, you know your paper. With Cartabella, you have to break those fibers, basically, on these joints to help it bend, because it's such a nice heavy paper. There it is. Got my arm in there, sorry. Okay, now I'm just going to push my book, the chipboard against the paper, just to kind of break those fibers. Now, this is where my art glitter glue is going to come in play. Because when you, isn't that weird? Okay. When you put it against the edge here to help soften those fibers, it really does make a difference. And we're going to be a little stuck here. Now, depending on your paper, actually, I'm just going to put this down for this moment on those creases. I really want to soften those babies up before I put more glue. I'm going to remove all of our score tape backing. Even though the glue is low moisture, it still has moisture in it, or water, so it's going to help break down those fibers. This is one long cover, and I'm really glad my camera was able to be put in this angle so that you can see more. I hope it's working on your end. Okay, I'm just going to go now along the edge of chipboard and paper up here at the top. Okay. Now we're going to start forming it, and like I said, this paper I have to play with a little bit. There we go. And you should feel it soften right up when you're using that glue. And I thank my design team members and Terry, who did a guest spot, for really encouraging me to do that. It's made a world of difference. It's great when crafters help crafters. Okay. And you're also going to see a beautiful edge up there on your chipboard. And I'm just kind of lightly going across there. Okay, let's turn this the other direction. Once again, across the top here. And those creases, it's hard to, there it is. Clean this off. Well, this one's just going down beautifully. It's kind of folded itself. lightly going over there because there is glue and I want it to grab that chipboard. Okay, we'll start with our ends. I push back just a hair. I'm going to bring that paper right over that edge. Bring our glue down. Very nice. Look at that edge. Just love it. Glue makes such a world of difference. I never dreamt I'd find a glue I love. Okay, let's just, I just need one more dog in here, huh? They're under my table and they keep getting up. If it's not me hitting the camera, it's them. We're going to now work on these areas. So what I'm going to do, I like this bone folder. Believe it, you know, I never thought bone folders would have certain purposes. Love the beveled end on here. Let me bring that up. It's kind of squared. I love the Martha Stewart one because it's rounded and it gives it more strength, but I've got to go find it. And then I love the Teflon ones, the new, you know, the squares, like your pan scrapers. They're fabulous. So bone folders really do have a purpose. This one, the end, I have found is absolutely perfect for forming that crease there. Now, another thing that is my favorite, and it's a pen, even when it's out of ink, I love, is a rounded tip pen that you can go into there. What you're wanting to do is just get that in there, get it formed, and you don't want it catching anywhere, and that's why I like the score tape underneath there. You should be able to bend that album nice and flat right now, and if you have this space, you're not going to have any cracking. And I was really worried. That's where my seam is. Actually, it's laying beautifully. So that's exactly how I wanted it. Doesn't always happen that way, so I consider it awesome that it worked great. Okay, now this is how your book will come together. My flap's going to go on the inside, and the reason I did a 5-inch flap is this is going to be pointing down. Our magnets will be here and here, where this isn't sitting on top. Now, if you're not using a dome and you want this to sit on top, you can. And the nice thing about an overhang this big is if you want to take that Santa Claus, you can cut it so that part of him's here and part of him's there, and you're going to get the whole scene. You're not going to lose some of your scene. I want the globe, and I'll tell you what else I want. I'm going to have the sit inside magnets there, but when this opens, I'm wanting to put a little waterfall. We've got 5 inches to work here, so I can make a 4-inch waterfall. And it's going to go down, and it'll be on the inside. This album's going to have so much real estate that you can use it for more than 1 year of Christmas. Now we have to do the inside. Our cover is 8.5 inches wide, and excuse me, where did I put my paper? We're going to need 3 more sheets of 12 by 12. So let me grab my 12 by 12. 2, 3. And I'm going to go ahead and cut these. Okay, this is 8.5. I'm only going to cut this down about 1/8 of an inch shorter. So 8 3/8 wide. And these pieces left over are about 3.5. They're going to be perfect for my little waterfall. So I'm going to set those aside. Now, we may even need more than 3 pieces. Let's see here. I'm laying it down and I'm checking my border. You should have about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Again, we're going to have to do some strategic placing of the paper. And we don't want any of our seams to fall in our creases. And then another thing is, this one is. So we're going to actually turn this album around. My 5-inch piece is right here. This is the closure. And this is actually going down on my closure. Now I am going to miss the seam. And the seam is, or where we're, where it folds. And this one can overlap. I like to overlap about 3/4 to an inch. And then see, this will be the biggest piece on the cover. It'll overlap just a hair, and we've totally missed our seam. So we're going to have to start this on the left hand side, our flap. And again, I'm going to use my papers, and I need to cut it down because when we're doing these insides, we want this to be more, you're going to want this edge to edge. And one thing, if you notice, it's not going to be long enough, so we will supplement with our score tape. But this is 8 3/8, so I'm going to cut this 8 3/8. And what I did is, if you've got one of these bigger cutters, professional, it has an arm marker, so you're able to leave it there from when you cut your paper. So it should be the exact same size with no overhang. I'm going to take just a tiny sliver off. So that I don't have any overhang. And I'm going to now remove the backing. I hope you guys can't hear my dog in the background just, oh my goodness, licking her paws. And she's the noisiest thing. But she is 15. I shut us off. So I figure when I get to be that age, I can lick my paws too, right? Just kidding. All right, we're going to now place this, if you're using this, carefully as possible, and it might crease, and that's okay. It's just tape. It'll smooth out. And if you get it on and some of it's hanging over, that's okay. Cut it off, or just do like your score tape and round it off the edge. It might feel a little intimidating because it's a bigger sheet if you're working with it, but it's fine. Just work it. Make it go where you want it to go. Okay, now one thing I'm going to do is go across these tops, because again, I want it on the edge of my paper. And I know some of you may be thinking, oh my goodness, that's overkill. Yes and no. I have found when you use the strips and you lay it down, have you ever taken your bone folder over and then you can see the stripes? Well, this is going to give one nice smooth finish. And if you're using white, that can be really important. Those lines do show. And this just gives you like a nice smooth wallpaper finish to your book. And I know some say, but the cost, well, when you're putting this much work into a project, I'd rather pay like an extra, when it comes down to it, my whole thing maybe costs an extra $10, $12, but it's going to last forever. Okay, sticky. We want to make sure we're getting top and bottom pretty even. And once you're comfortable. Now, do you see how the paper underneath sort of shows? Sometimes you can get line. Now, that's where it was wrinkled. So sometimes you'll have lines all the way across with your score tape. Generally, if the paper hadn't, if I hadn't wrinkled it, it wouldn't be there, but it'll smooth out. Not only will it smooth out, we're going to cover it, and we're going to be building inside. Okay. Again, I need to cut another piece of paper or tape. Sorry, got some score tape now stuck to my hands. It won't come off. Oh my goodness. Okay. You know what? Pretty close. So I'm just going to make really good and sure I get it really close to that top edge. Now check that none of your papers are falling in here. You know, it's not ending right there because you're not going to like it. It's going to be a mess, possibly. So I'm going to do this a little different because it's pretty tight. Get it right on those edges. Now you can just reach down. Not just slick as could be. I'm telling you, it's worth the extra $1 or $2. I've got a little bit of overhang here, so I do want to go ahead and trim it, or I can just fold it over. Main thing is when you're doing this, you don't want to cut your cardstock. It gets a little sticky. Now, again, I want to get it on those edges. I notice the sun is going down, so it looks like we got a little bit of picture. Okay, I'm going to overlap, fingertips worth, an inch, whatever you are comfortable with. Check this edge. Let me show you. Where is your paper going to fall? You need to make sure it either falls on this side of your hinge or that side. You don't want it to fall inside, excuse me, your hinge. So double check that. Okay, I'm going to match this down here at the bottom. And I'm going to pull it up for a second because I forgot I've got a little bit of overhang. And when you are working, if you're using the sheets, don't let it grab anything because this stuff is sticky and it's not coming up. You will have to dig your paper up, trust me. Been there. Okay, just even sticking to my fingers, it's super, super strong. Let me stand up. So I might be in the camera a little bit. I want to make sure my seams match. And let's grab our last piece. I am going to once again overlap, but you can see this is too big. The main thing is I want it down here to match. So I'm going to go about an inch here. I have a seam there, so I'm going to stay over here. It's the seam of the paper, not the seam of the hinge. And I'm going to make a mark. And I'm going to cut that off. Again, I want to check that everything fell where it's supposed to. Now I had this piece left over. And I think I'll go ahead and just cut another one. I'm going to lay it down on here. Just take my permanent, because I know I need to cut this brown off. Well, it's not so permanent anymore. It's pretty much gone. Oh, that's about had it. And I'll get this cut. And all these little pieces, I will save these. I will use these for matting. I will use them, and I'll use them up before I use my rolls when I'm decorating the pages. Okay. Let's check our fit here. And I need to take a hair more off. That's good. Looks like I may have taken a little too much off, so right there. And you do want it to lay perfectly flat. And I got a little too much there. Let me put it in the cutter. So when I take this off, what I'm going to do is use one of my extra pieces and take that all the way off. I'm going to layer that on top because I really want that on the edge. And I'm going to have that on the inside. I don't want that on the outside. I mean, it'll probably cause no problems, but you know, it's just that security feeling. Okay. Want to make sure I'm matching the seam of the paper outside of the book. Everything is not straight because I put it on upside down. Oh goodness, but you know what? We're okay. Did you see what I did? I put the Should have gone the other way. But that's okay. Pattern paper's going there. So we're safe. I'm safe. Oh, I can't believe I did that. But I did. I knew I was going to jinx it thinking that this album was, oh my gosh, just going along so great. It still is going on great. I just have a little extra. And actually, no one but you guys on the camera is going to know. Okay, we have to now bring our paper in. So as you start to bend just a hair, you're going to see where your creases are. You're going to very lightly, or however you know your paper, and you're going to help bend that up, and it should catch down on that score tape. Now you should bend it over and you should have no cracking. And it's all because we have this beautiful space right here. Okay. Turn it around. It's right there. Now you might be able to see that. So actually there might be a nice little flap on our back cover. So there's your cover. You have a lot of options here. You have this option. My option will be on the inside. Okay, now let's grab our hinges. I'm not going to set that too far away. With our hinges, we want to take, however you're going to put your tape on, I'm going to use my pieces of score tape. And I'm going to mark where I need to cut it. And I'll get that cut off. And if you remember when we made our hinges, see we had to add our add-on piece here. But you can see it's still very strong. Double check. That's still too long? I mean too wide. If you're using score tape, just go ahead and cover the back. I'm going to take a little more of that off. My goodness, I'm going to have white noise down here so you don't hear my dogs. Now on this, I'm not really concerned about the edge to edge, but it's pretty close. If I was doing the score tape, yeah, I'd just go around the edge, but I think we're pretty well covered. Okay. Let's open our book. Let me tell you too, if you are a fan of a gatefold album, because I get a lot of requests and I will do one. Again, we've basically made a gatefold. You would just cut this shorter to meet up to here. So basically you would cut that much off. Then you would have your gatefold. You would put, I would put 3 pages here and 3 pages here. You can put all your pages on one side, but it's really odd. So anyway, if you can make this album, you can go on to make a gatefold extremely easily. And I see that this is going to be on my front cover where I made my boo-boo, but it's okay. pages are here. Have I made a mistake? No, I haven't. Why is this not? This is going to go on the inside. Pages down there. It just seems weird to me, and I don't know why. Okay. So lay your hinges, and you should have just that little bit on each side. I want them to be straight. Okay. So whatever you're using for your adhesive, if you are using score tape, make sure nothing's hanging over your edges. Okay, once you get it down, let's go through and really get things smushed down. I like to use these older Cricut tools that I have. They're nice, and they used to be so nice and rubbery, and now they've changed them to this. And as much, this is a silhouette actually. I'm not sure. I think the new Cricut ones are even a little bit different. They're not the nice rounded edges that are just so great for this. Okay. We are now going to put our pages in. So let's get our pages together. And I just have to grab my others. Okay. Whoa, there we go. I was stuck. If I recall, yes, that's the back page. It's my next page. Oh, I love this paper. There was our nice big pocket. Isn't that pretty? And our flap. Now remember, one way to tell is we have the flap that we made. There's that flap. And that flap will be to your right. So, ooh, I almost missed that one up. So that one's our pocket. Okay, that is to my right. It just went, okay, a different direction. So double check all those items. Okay, I'm going to start with my last page. And the first thing I'm going to do, and this is why we didn't seal it yet, we've got to make sure it's going to fit. And we need to get our hand inside there. And then you need to make sure. Now you're going to see it's going to lay beautifully. And so we're going to remove our tape. And I've heard some other really neat tips. One crafter told me, and she did get it from another crafter on YouTube, so it's not, the lady uses a glue stick and just lightly goes over so her page just slides on easy. You could use your glue, and then, you know, the art glue would be an extra bond. So if you wanted to, I'm not going to. I hate to say it, I'm comfortable putting these on, but I shouldn't have said that. So anyway, we're going to start. We're going to just put it on. Now it should fit perfect. We're not going to have any back and forth. We're going to lay it down. Now when you lay it down, you're going to get that natural spacing. And you're just going to now push it down where you want it to go. We have a nice big hinge giving us a little more freedom of movement. And we've got a page now that's going to lay flat. And I absolutely love it. I taught it this way forever, on laying your pages down. And I haven't had one album yet that's, you know, super bulky, won't close. And by cutting your hinges just that 1/8 of an inch shorter, your page should just glide on so smoothly. Open, open, get your hand in there because you might have to hold down some flaps, but you need it to help get that page on. Okay, once that page is on, lay it down. See how it's laying down? Then you'll get that natural spacing, and if you need to move it a little bit, it should move. Maybe you've got some extra flaps there, or we're going to open it and push it down. Bend it backwards and push it down. Now remember, you've got the glued down, the flap we need to glue down. We've already tucked them in. Yep, it's there. This one is not a difficult one. Okay, lay it down. You're going to see it pop up and get that natural spacing. Double checking, that's where it goes. Okay, now see, I'm going to have to kind of hold that flap down. I don't want it to pop open on me and throw me off here. Now, when I lay it down, it'll push away a little bit on its own. But it should pretty much lay nice both ways. Now, if you've gotten to this point and you're thinking, gosh, I want to put mats in here. I've got room. I'm going to put mats. Okay, I'm going to show you. You don't have to glue this down. What you're going to do is glue it to the paper itself if you don't want to close your pockets. So that choice is yours. You can still glue this down to here so you can still use it, or you can close it. So if, like I said, you may have gotten to this point and you're thinking, gosh, I want to have mats. That's okay. I'm going to fill these pockets full, and I'm not going to want mats, so I know I'm going to seal mine. Sorry if I smacked the camera. Okay, so when I lay it down, I'm getting that natural spacing. Now, see how your pages are laying really nice and they cascade? That's the look you want. You don't want any pages sticking up like this. Now, had we used a smaller hinge, it's very possible. You need to have more depth in here with your hinges, and you can see how it makes a difference. Now, if you're using a different hinge system, stack the deck, go ahead and make them wider. But now just kind of push your album down and around. And I have to tell you, I'm in love with this paper. Now this one's being a little, but I think I know why. And it's, I brought one edge up instead of the other, which is fine. I love this album. I can't wait. So now you'll see we have plenty of room. But when you start putting your mats, decorations, flowers, this is going to move up, so you have to have that room inside. I want to now put that waterfall in here also, so that's going to take up some room. But one thing I always forget to do is put my magnets down, and then I start papering, and then I run into issues. So I'm going to get my large basic gray magnets out, and this is going to take 3. Okay, had to go get more magnets. You know, I know it sounds like a lot because I'm putting a waterfall there. I'm almost tempted to go with 4 sets. Again, that's personal preference. And I think I'm going to, this is going to be a heavy album. Now, if you don't want to use magnets, whoops, I almost threw my magnets in the garbage. If you don't want to use magnets for a closure, but you still want this underneath here, one thing you can do, and I did this in one of my cookbook albums, on this side, you're going to put ribbon, and it'll come up and around this way and tie. You can also, from here to here, you could also make a clasp, or you could do a closure, a paper closure. So you don't have to use magnets. I just want you to know. Magnets are kind of, you know, a personal preference. But where we're doing this, see, and I'm just watching because I don't want this to hang down. This is where I was thinking I'm going to use 4. I'm going to put 2 here so that it grabs there. And then I want 2 here. I don't want this to sag. So I'm going to try this, because if it doesn't work, I can always take them off. This is one reason I put my magnets on this, so that I can remove them before I put my pattern paper. I don't like to put them underneath this. Now, over here, I'm going to bring these guys in just a hair. And we're going to see how well this works. Bring these up together. Don't grab yet. So I'm going to turn it this way so I can get a good lineup. Oh, I like that. You can see there's no sagging. See, I was worried about this dipping down. It's not, it's staying nice and firm. So the 4 magnets for me was a good choice. If I was doing ribbon, let's see if I would take my ribbon through here on the back side, see, and it would come up and it would meet. Now I would use a really thick ribbon. Here we go, maybe like this gold. And sometimes I will still do that even with the magnets, because I like to just have it for decoration. Let me show you. So you could bring this up on top and situate it sort of in the middle so that you would have a tie closure. So if you don't want to use magnets, you don't have to use magnets. Or you can use this in with magnets, and we'll have to see when we get to that point. So I don't think I'll cover that inside area until the very last. Now I need to just slide that. There we go. I was afraid they'd come up. So now you can see the placement better. And I do want to cover these with score tape, but I don't need my huge one. It's right here in front of me. Only because I know it's going to eventually grab each other and they're going to be pulled off just from the strength of the magnets. Now, I'm using basic grade magnets. They are available in my store. I get them from the owner. He lives very close and he still sells them to me because we're neighbors, and he still is having them made even though he doesn't have the basic grade division of his paper anymore. Put that on there, use that for something else. So there we have the basic, love it. I love it when it comes together, construction of our album. So we'll pick up tomorrow. We'll get the cover and the inside done, because we do have to do this inside part. We have to make a really nice flapped area, of course. We need a good sized pocket back here. And I want a waterfall. So you can see now how nice that waterfall is going to have room. I can put the waterfall on the inside. Okay, I tried to get, we're at a different angle again. Tried to get as much glare gone as possible. In the back of the envelope, in the back of the album, I want to put on the cover an envelope. So basically it'll be a letter to Santa type envelope. So what I need to do, I'm going to have it turned backwards. So the front will be decorated, the flap will fold over. I'm going to be using my envelope punch board, but in case you don't have one, I'm going to show you how you can make one without. So this is a 10.5, I'm going to cut this down to 10.5 by 10.5. And just have one more cut. So if you don't have an envelope punch board, what you can do is you just take your 10.5 or whatever size. If I was doing it for a card, I would measure it. So we're going to bring these together. And you're going to check to make sure you're pretty much the same on both sides. Okay. Then we're just going to fold this up. And again, check for your even on the bottom. And this is what you can do then if you aren't able to use your envelope punch board. Now I'd cut there. Now in actuality, this would come to the back. Like I said, it's going to be a pretty good size envelope type pocket. So that's how I would make it. And that's a very simple way. Now you would just put your glue there, bring your front down, and you could also use it this size. Now if you're going to do that, go ahead and cover this all up first, but I do want mine back because then I'll decorate this part. So let me put this one aside, and I'm going to use the envelope punch board. So let me cut this 10.5, or yeah, 10.5 by 10.5. Sorry, Sunny. Sorry, my dog, like I mentioned again, she likes to lay there and just lick her paws. And I know that's not what you want to hear in the video. So if you're using your envelope punch board, then you want to come over here to the 5.5 by 8. It's your A8. They call it A8. And I'm going to scores. Yeah, you're just going to follow this whole thing. So it says to take it to 4.5. Punch, and then we're going to go along that score, and it doesn't go clear to the bottom, so you'll have to kind of just do some manual fold on that side. Now it will on that side. And now I'm just going to put this in and just follow all the way around. Just throw your little corners. You can go ahead and punch. There's a punch up on top if you want to round off your corners. And like I mentioned, this is going to be turned the other way. Oh wow. Well, we picked up my embossing powder I used earlier. Okay. Now, this is definitely a little different size than if you're going to manually fold, which is okay. That one's more long than it is. And that's a nice size too for this album. Your envelope punch board, yes, is going to be a little different sized. And I'm going to actually bring that to the back. I'm also going to use this as a flap, basically. So what I'm going to do is, that will be down, but then I'm going to have this little area that you can put cards in. And then we'll be able to slide a tag down inside. So I want to go ahead, get my glue. And I'm just going to go kind of light with it. There you have your pocket. Now, this is going to go on my inside cover. And since that's what we're going to be working on, is the front and back inside cover. And I need to move this because I've got to bring this down. And I'm so sorry. We're still trying to figure out different light filters, getting rid of that glare when working on black paper. So I want to now cover the inside of the cover. Sorry, and everything fell on the floor. Okay. Since our cover is 8.5 by 9.5, and actually you're going to find it maybe just a hair longer because of the spacing, and that's perfectly normal. So we're going to want to cut the paper that you now want to have as your inside. And because I am going to be covering it with an envelope, I'm going to use a sheet from the Patterns and Solids 12 by 12. And I'm going to go with I love the Jolly Santa Clauses. So I'll go ahead and get this one cut 8.5 wide by 9.5 long. Now when I'm doing the covers, even the front and back, what I do is I cut it almost the same length and width, because like I said, you've got some spacing. Now for the width, I did take off the 1/8 of an inch. For the length, I only took off about 1/16, because you've got that extra length due to your spacing of those, and you have a little more room to work with. And yes, I was using the Distress ink, or the, oh goodness, you know what I'm talking about, right? Vintage Photo. And I had everything out, I thought. And I apologize. For some reason, I can't find the dauber. So what I'm going to do is I've got an extra dauber, and I'll just take that one off. I was using a red. Okay. It's kind of like my bone folder. Sometimes I think the little elves come in here and play. And I think they're called grandchildren. But that's okay. Everything's replaceable. And my art glue. Oh wow, just that short time. Wish I had a pin that was automatic. Just went back in there. Okay. Need a little bigger. And let's just put that down on the back of our cover. For the envelope, this can go down even before you decorate it. Okay, so we have our mat down. And then for our envelope, what I did is I went and cut the 7 3/4 by about 5 and about 6/8. So I just, measured it. So it'll just depend on the size of the envelope if you created one. And I love the postage stamp one. So that's what's going to go on the bottom, and my flap will be the candy or the pinwheel candies. There we go. Now I cut it the same width. Now I need to draw this so that I can get it the size that I'm needing. And now just use my cutter on that, and I'm going to also cut it. I could cut it by hand, but I want it to be a little straighter. So I'm going to put it in the cutter, and I want to cut off that pencil. And this for me, a little tricky. So I hold this down. I'm going to bring this up. There we go. Make sure it's where I wanted it before I keep cutting. And you can see I'm going to need to trim it, which is just fine. I'd rather trim it than completely cut it wrong. So this one now I can situate a little better. Cut above that pencil mark. And then I'll just trim this one. And the nice thing with doing it like that, I get these square corners. See, and that's what I was going for. Now, I like to put it there, and I'm not going to recut this because that's the angle and everything I like. But you can see it's extra. So always take, when you're doing things like this, don't try and keep cutting these because it's not going to bring it down any. I hope that's making sense. I learned the hard way. I would cut and cut, and yet it's not going to change the size that you actually need because you need to take it off the top to get that border. So if you've been frustrated and you've been cutting and then you keep cutting and then you find out you ruin your angle, it may be due to that. And I see my side. I'm just going to take a tiny bit off of this side. There we go. Now we have the fit we're looking for. Yeah, sorry about my arms being in the camera. I'm still healing from our little doggy and horse incident. But it's actually looking a lot better. I meant to wear sleeves. Apologize. I know it looks terrible. I got some sticky glue tonight. Just gonna open that flat. Yep, that glue right there. I keep losing, there we go, losing my bone holders tonight. Okay, whoops, last night when I was filming, it went really well. Hope I haven't jinxed it. No, it's still going well. I think I'm just so excited to do the cover that I want to hurry and get the inside, but because I'm putting the Prima Dome on, we have to do most of the inside because we're not going to be able to work with it flat anymore once that dome's on. Or I'm not going to be able to. Now, if this pocket kind of reminds you of a giant size tags and pocket, that's kind of what it is. You know, the concept of the tags and pockets that come with the line. I wanted to have, you know, that pocket, that letter to Santa to look. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and put my dot just right about there. Hold that for a minute. Now, let's see if I have any squares. Okay, this is about the size of a card. So see, now we can use that as a pocket. We can use our cut aparts there, or you can just put a cut apart now on the outside and still just attach it here, and you'll be able to slide things in. A lot of things you can do with this. Now, I'm going to show you. I'm going to attach this only 3 sides because we're going to have a pocket inside here, and then this is also going to be a pocket. So when adhering this, you just want to go on these 3 sides and stay away from your open area. Like so. Don't put any glue anywhere else, because if you do, you've lost that pocket effect. Then line it up here at the bottom. I always like to use my dried diaper wipes. Just never know when you squish. Now let's get in there with our bone folders. Now we have a pocket. I need to lift this up. Hold on, see what's the problem. Oh. We have a pocket now for there, and then you've got a pocket behind. So there'll be 2 different areas you can put your cards in. I should have waited just a minute. Okay, we won't play with that side no more. Okay, let's move things over. So that's going to be the back side. And right here, this is that 5 by 8.5. So I do want to go ahead and cut my paper, and I've used the Santa Claus. So I'm thinking I might want to stick along those lines. It's not wide enough. Basically with the gold. And this is going to be the waterfall. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to keep that gold going. I'm going to go ahead and put this down so we can build the waterfall. Then the pieces were cut from the cover, so I know this is the width I want. It's not going to be a really huge waterfall. And I'm going to cut this, I'm going to keep it the same width, and I'm going to cut it down to 6 inches. So that's where my waterfall will sit. And I'm going to build it onto there first. Move my cover now. Well, which one? Oh, I cut it in half. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to go ahead and cut now. I'm going to keep these all the same length, same width. I mean, same width, but I'm going to cut these down to 4.5. So I'm only going to cut 4 now. We may need a few more. So I'm going to cut, actually I'm going to cut 5 just in case. And they're scratched, so. Let's go ahead and score. At the 1/2 inch. So I went ahead and scored all 5. And if I, some days, very rare, the math skills are a little sharper than others. Today's not one. So now I'm going to do is as I score them, or burnish them, they're scored. I'm going to burnish it back. Then I'm going to lay the next one at 1/2 inch. This is going to tell me how many I need for 6 inches. The next one's going to sit at 1 inch. One and a 1/2 inch. So it looks like we do need 5, because then our paper will sit that other 1/2 inch. And 2. So this brings us perfectly to 6. Well, we're a little off, so we may have 1 inch. There you go. So that's how I figured it out, by laying these down, see, at 1/2 inch intervals. So you do need 5 if you're making it the same length as mine, 6 inches. And I'm going to use a ribbon. That's going to be too much. I just not. I'm going to use that big gold ribbon closure. Oh, it may be too wide. So let me rethink that. I have a red satin that I think I'll use, and it will have to go down before now, for the sake of, because on camera, my videos do go a long time. I know I'm not going to decorate the waterfall. I'm going to put it down. I'll just go back and use my scraps, and I know everybody has such a personal preference, and then again it will depend on what scraps you have left. So the rest of the decorating, except for the cover, won't be on camera, but then when I do finish the album completely, I'll do a walkthrough. And I need to stop talking because that went on crooked. Let's see here. Let's get you fixed really quick. Wipe that tip off. Actually, I've got some sparkly gold ribbon. I want to see how well that will tie without the glitter coming off when we're done here. And it's time to wash my tips tonight. Soak them in warm water so that you get that glue off. And there's our waterfall. And let's see. I think this will be fine. So I'm going to bring this all the way around. Really sparkly. I know it's pretty, but I need to see how well it's going to tie. I want it to look like that gold, package. It's a little bulky, but I think it will work. Now, one thing I do want to check it out. No, you know what? Don't like it. But we do need to get that ribbon down before, so let me grab something else. So let's bring out the good old gold netting. Netting can be really fun in your albums. And also very easy to use. And it's a lot softer to work with. So what I'm going to do is, I know I'm going to use netting. And I know this is taking up camera time. There we go. Let's go black. Since we are using black cardstock, it's a little thinner. There we go. Much better. It will look better with that gold. And it's a little bit thinner. Love it. That'll look great. Look like a package for sure. Even you can, don't be afraid to get things out, like the curly ribbon. Not only is curly ribbon, even though it has a different, that plasticky feel. Oh my gosh, I've even made hair ribbons out of it. It's wonderful. And then you can curl it and make it really look festive. So that will work too in your holiday albums. Don't be afraid to try different things, especially from your Christmas stash. So now that that is there, now one thing I'm going to use with this is the score tape, because it'll work two purposes. It's going to hold this down. Across the middle. That glue likes to stick to everything. Netting's a lot easier to work with than that gold ribbon would have been. It would have been terrible, I think. Back here it's pretty, but sure nothing's sticking over. Now I am going to just go dot this a little bit with glue, because it will still attach that spot of what is it? Oh, goodness, netting that we're using. Okay, I'm going to just kind of eyeball my centering. It's going to look really cute. Open this up. Push this back. There we go. To lay down. I'm not going to cut any more ends until after. Just tuck those in so they're not in my way. After I mat it, because my little crooked there, that one page. No, so I'm holding it. If I cut it off now, when I put the matting and it takes up that extra space, it'll for sure be too short. Now see, that's going to sit in there nicely. No problems. And because I used that netting, a lot easier to push down on. Now for our front cover, oh, excuse me, right in here, I'll just put another coordinating piece of paper in the middle. We'll just mat it. And that's where you could actually poke a hole. And I might do that. I might hang some charms. That's really a cute place to hang your charms so that they show on the inside. Okay, so we now have our inside cover to build on. And one thing to decide, do you want some flaps? What is it, you're wanting? Do you want it to be a pocket with a flap? And that's what I decided. I want the pocket, and then I want the flap that comes up. Well, that was one idea. But I have another one too, because I made a folio where I had two places for cards. And I'm going to go with the pocket and flap, though, with this one. So, let's get our cardstock. Oh, I thought I had mine out. There's a piece that'll be perfect. Our length is 9.5, so I'm going to cut it 9.5 for my pocket to start. I'll make it about a 1/16 of an inch shorter. And this is 8.5, so I'm going to go with 6 for my pocket. Okay, let me try those again. you're going to go 10.5 by 6. 10.5 by 6. And when I go 10.5, I'm going to go about 10 4/8. So I'm going to stop just before that 1/2 inch mark. So now we're going to score this on all 3 sides for our pocket. I don't know. It's a brightness there. So we're going to score 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, and our 1/2 inch. Now I'm just going to, right now, I want to just fold up this side and this side because we have to do any adjusting because your covers can be a little different in size. And what I'm checking to see is how well, and it looks like it's going to fit perfect. I don't want it to go into that fold, of course. So it looks good. Okay. Now I am going to be putting a flap on here, so I just don't want a lot of bulk. I'm not going to go the curved way. So do you see where this comes together? You're going to stay on this side and watch. You're going to just cut off that edge. So we are actually going straight across. We're going to be putting a flap on top, and there's going to be some extra bulk. And you may have to adjust, but don't go over that corner so that they come together more at this angle. And we really don't want anything to overlap, so sometimes you just have to adjust, but don't cut your corner. I'm hoping that makes sense. You're basically mitering. So don't cut into the corner, stay on the outside of the, here's your score line. Don't cross it, and see how they'll come together with the little space. Or yours may come together absolutely perfect. Mine don't. Because I want this to lay as flat as possible where I'm putting another piece on top. What I'm going to do is just fix this one a little bit. There we go. Piece that was bothering me. So it looks good. So we are going to bring our cover back over. Try to have all of our magnets. I don't usually like to do this, but we're going to have to put our paper on top of there. We're going to put our pocket on top of the paper. And let me see something. I forgot about that. I wasn't really thinking because our pocket will lay over. It's one of those camera oops. So I think we're going to be better going this way, and I apologize, but easy fix. So you're going to open your pocket if you're following along with me. I completely forgot about that, and we want it. I'm not going to like that because of the way the flap sits over. This is 8.5, so just cut this down to 9.5. But when you cut it, open your flaps, remeasure it at 9.5. And we're going to rescore this edge at 1/2. And we're going to just repeat the same thing. We're going to cut our corner and refold. That's much better. Again, I don't want the bulk. And let's put her down and see how well it fits. I don't want anything hanging over. And I think it looks great. Now see, I'm still going to have a flap, but it's going to be more like a door that's on here. So we're still going to get our same effect. And I just think it'll be better with the way I've orientated the cover. And this is going to be a nice place for extra pictures, extra just tags. Now make sure we keep on the side of that hinge. In fact, I would stay about 1/8 of an inch away. I did not remove that paper, and I won't be removing that paper until I'm ready to mat the inside. You just work around your magnet there. It'll lay a lot better once we get our pattern paper. Now, when I close this, so see my tag, this is actually going to be even, I think, cuter, because you can actually make tags. Let me show you. That are longer and they can stick out. Now how cute is that? You can really have a cute series of tags sticking out. I like that. I like that a lot better. I like the way it, you know, feels better too when it closes, and that's really cute. Now, one thing you can do if you're saying, no, I don't want that, I don't want my tags to fall out, take another sheet of paper, measure it to be about 4 by 6 so you can put a cut apart and put it right there. Now you have a flap that will also hold your tags in. Put it between your magnets. See, sometimes we have these afterthoughts. That's okay. You can make them work. And it depends. I'm thinking that may go on too. I like it. It's 4. So let me cut it down to 8. I'm going to cut mine down to 9, sorry. Or 8. Let's see. No, let's go with 7 3/4. I still want this door, and I want it to open this way. So I need to cut it 8 1/2 by, don't want it to quite come to that edge, 8 1/2 by 6. Actually, this piece is perfect. This was a 5 1/2 piece, so I'm just going to cut it down to 8 1/2. That way I can put a tab here to show that it needs to pull open. Just remove my mat and score at 1/2 inch. Even if you're following a pattern and maybe you get flustered, change it. Change it to what you're wanting it to do, what you like it to do. Okay, so now it's going to go on the edge of the pocket, and I do need to check the length because I don't want it hanging over. In fact, I want it a little bit, about 1/8 of an inch shorter. Now see, it'll show that we've got a flap here. Let's go ahead and miter our corners. I need to burnish that a little better. Where's my, oh, there we go. And you could even have that tie, or you can have a magnet. I have to move the camera with the book. It's getting long, so I'm going to put my magnet. They might fight each other for a minute. Well, that's a little piece. Here, we try again. There we go. Now we have a pocket. We have a flap. We're going to stick that other flap there. And I did that, I think, last year on a Christmas album that I did. And it was on the Christmas Carol. My goal here, though, is, you know, I don't know. For me, I'm going to leave it off. I really like the idea. I'm going to have some little peekaboos. So I'm going to leave that off. But it's there now if you'd like to add it. If you do add it, try and play off your magnet that is here. I like this, that it's going to open up and tell a story. This would be a great place for the kids sitting on Santa's lap. Maybe, you know, the beginning. And then we've got a nice pocket here. And it's gusseted, so we've got lots of room. Then just mat it as normal. And then, like I said, as you start decorating, you're going to love the room in this album, because you're going to be able to make these pages nice and chunky. And if you should just lay beautifully and flat if you made them larger. So we definitely have a lot of fun things going on. Now let's go ahead and let's close. If you're going to close these, now if you decided now that you want to have them open and you want to put tags in, put your glue on this side, okay? Then just lay it down flat. And then you still have a really nice finished edge, okay? And it won't interfere with your tags. And if not, go ahead and put your glue on the top and squish it together. And I have to be honest with you, I'm thinking I want to do the inserts, even though it, you know, we've used a lot of paper, but I'm thinking the inserts, because we have, well, now and there's some, and I think if you watch my other tutorials, okay, I am going to close a couple of pages. This one, because I don't like them to be tight, so I for sure am going to close this one. I'll tell you why. It's tight and I want to be able to show you. So what I'm going to do is I just leave the tag in there. Take my glue along the top here. Okay, have your rag ready. Let's just take our things off here. Open it up and close her. And you know, you can do this without doing that extra ½ inch gusset, but look how much nicer it is. It just gives you a sealed edge. And yet you still have the option if you want to tag, because I'm thinking this is one where we did our pocket. It's not tight. I'm going to probably put a tag in there. This one, no. And the front one, I'm just really undecided. And you don't have to have a tag in every single page anyway. This is one of my favorite pages. So now it's sealed. Sometimes I'll go through just here on these ends with our clips. And again, sometimes I have clips, sometimes I don't, because I have little elves of grandchildren that just think it's funny to play with those. They love playing with these. So you can do this one. This one is not a very tight, well, it's kind of tight. So I may only leave one open with a tag and make it as a folder. I may even make it as a pocket. So we'll see. So that gives you options. But you'll notice as you start decorating, adding your flowers, this is going to get nice and chunky and tags. So you'll just want to go through and now make your tags any size you like. You can make them to the cut aparts. And then of course I have these to mat, which I like to use, again, the scraps. So I'll be going through my scraps. Oh, don't forget your tags for here. And here on this one we have lots of room for lots of tags and decorations. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I want to do the cover. So we're going to have to cut the rest of it. But I'd suggest, and we're going to need some more room here. I would suggest that you go through first, cut all your sheets of paper. I always cut it, like I said, for this, I'm going to cut it 9.5. I'm not going to cut it any shorter because you've got the edge, you've got extra, a little bit of extra. Let me bring this up. A little bit of extra now width due to your gussets. So this is probably a true 9.5 inches. Yeah, you want it to be 9.5 inches by 8.5. So you'll cut 2. You'll do the same. Measure your spine area. And then for the cover, choose your paper, get that cut. Cut this one. I'll do mine and then we'll come back on camera because I have to decide what it is I want to use. So I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, let me get back in camera. Now I went ahead and I'll show you. I've just done the matting on the back and the 2 sides. Here's my front, so I'm turning it this way. So I'm going to add lace and I want to wrap this. Now what I've done is I've just added a little piece of score tape. It's the 1/8 inch. Okay, now I'm going to put it right on this edge. The lace is a little crooked. It was made that way. But we're going to have beads along there. I'm going to turn this over. I'm just going to wrap that like that so that we have pretty much a finished edge. And the way that's just the lace, not much I can do. And then I'll have a layer of pearls. So, as mentioned before, now this glue works great even on fabric. And because it's the back side, even if it was to come through, it's not going to show. That's what this glue is made for, to dry completely clear. And when they say it dries clear, it does. And it's a good hold. Oh man, it's a really good hold. So there's a couple of different things where I'm going to be doing the dome. I'm going to have to stop the camera, cut my dome piece. And if you are on Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations, Kimberly Murray, she's our craft box coordinator and also quite the teacher. She shows you how to use it, but I'll show you too. It's just my die machine is electric. It's plugged in over on another table, and it's my cut and emboss. So I can't bring it over here. Now you can also trim your lace if you like, but it'll be fine underneath there. I'm just going to put another piece over the top, just like so. I'm going to add, because it's my front cover, I just want to add 2 more pieces, and I'm going to fill in with some glue. Make sure those pieces are down. It's a little loose, so I'm just going to tuck it underneath there, like so. And go to the opposite side. Sometimes it doesn't like to come up on that lace, so it's better to pull it from the other end. And kind of get there in the middle. I need to, got a little piece of score tape, but it should be fine. There's enough stickiness. Just do some filling in here. Now your album might be a little difficult to work with because right now it wants to go that way because I don't quite have mine stuffed yet, but that part, oops, is coming. So it goes on the edge exactly where I want them. So as you can see, making your covers and things like this with your space is quite versatile. You are able to maneuver it a little more so than most. So now I'm just going to go along the edges of my lace where it's kind of solid in there. And that will grab, trust me, that will hold nicely. Now, the main focus here is going to be my dome, the memory dome from Prima. And one thing, I was thinking you really could cut your circle, but you really can't. And now that I've really worked it with Kim, I totally understand. Inside my dome is going to be this little Christmas tree. And we had these little Christmas trees in our, they were part of your kit. And I had a few left over if you did the Advent box. And this is one of the new stems that will be coming out from Petaloo. And so those are going to sit inside of my dome. And then inside of the dome, just this, you can pick up this loose snow from Hobby Lobby. That's going to, whoops, go inside. And then I have, well, I had sprinkles. These are from Hobby Lobby. These are really cute. So, especially these, they say Christmas on them. They're in gold. And then I've got, so I'm thinking I'll probably be going with the gold and the red. They're just Christmas. But first of all, I have to take this memory dome, and there has to be a piece of paper cut. So I need to pick out what I'm wanting. And you can use your 6x6 pad for this, but let me show you. I'm wanting, oh, that's pretty. I'm wanting to have a designed paper because I'm thinking that's the one. Oops. Okay. It's actually going to sit on top, and it makes this border for your memory dome. So what I need to do now is cut this down to about 6.5 by 6.5. See, what it's going to do is give me that, move it. It'll give that border. And so it kind of depends on how much of a border around this dome you want. And then what you do is, let me grab my plates. So with the cut and emboss, all your plates come with it, and that's what I really like. I need these 3. So I'm just going to put this here. And there is, whoops, I should have probably, I need to center this. And you can tape it. Mine has that magnetic, so I'm just going to lay it there. That didn't look very straight, did it? I haven't used this, so we'll be using it first time on camera. And as I remember, she said to cut the opposite side due to that. So that's what we're going to do. And I'm actually going to keep the camera rolling. You'll hear a noise. Let me just step over and cut it. My plates back. Now what we have our circle. Your dome goes here, and this is going to sit on top of your dome to give it that border. And it's going to hide, it hides that plastic. Now, this can also go down if you want that to be your back side. I don't this time, and so we'll keep a hold of that, because inside is where I'm going to put all this fun little stuff. And the memory dome is going to go inside. Now, after you get your memory dome on, I should have plugged my hot glue gun in. Then you can do your lace. You can do your beads. You can do any, your decorating around there, which is what, yes, we'll do. So what I want to also do is get my messy snow open. Let me put this die away so I don't lose it in the mess. And also I need to check the writing on here because it does go a certain way. So I'm going to go ahead and ink this. And I know, the memory domes are quite intimidating at first. And one thing I just noticed too is maybe that would have been pretty to layer the gold. Oh, I wish you guys could talk back. I think I'm going to go with the gold. It gives that elegant look. Yeah, we're going to go gold. So let me hit this side. It's quite different, this cover. I usually would go with more of your cover sheet. But the signature, I just really wanted it to be different. And on the spine, I have to show you because you can also pick these up at Hobby Lobby. Isn't that just gorgeous? And I believe they're still 40% off. So it's a beautiful charm. So go over and pick it up. You're going to want one of these. It's going to go on the spine. So we're going to take this off. Oh, let me see. I've already got some falling out here. Trying to avoid a mess all over the place. Okay. Let's move this up and keep in camera. Okay, let's get our hot glue gun. Just make sure it's good and hot. And because it needs a few more minutes, let me just walk through a couple of things. So I went ahead and I picked a gold swirly. And then the back, I chose this one. And as you can see, the black shows. So I'm going to be putting some lace on the edge, or I may cut a border with the paper. Haven't decided yet. And then here's my other side. And this is also where this Santa Claus will go. He's just gorgeous. I really like him. And what I want to do is open the snow. Oh, this Christmas stuff is fun, but oh, I just dread it because it is messy. Now your domes come three. They come three in a package, so you get 3 of the domes, I believe, for $6.99. And what's nice is you can use them for other projects. Could you imagine using the memory dome for a baby album and putting the baby booty in there and the pacifier? Cute, I know. There's so many things you can do with them and have a very, very unique look to your projects. Now, you can also make an ornament out of it. Kim will be showing us an ornament. So these do say Merry Christmas on them. Definitely, you know, great for a shaker card or for this. I won't need that many. Okay. We're dripping here, so I think we are ready with the hot glue. One thing that I want to do, move these little guys out of the way. Because I need to check exactly where I'm wanting that to be. And so I do need to have this on just for my, because I want it to clear the lace. And then over here, I'm going to have a handle. So I want to lift that up. And I basically want to leave this somewhat in place. Oh, there goes my dog. Quickly check the sides. Okay. Just a hair. I gotta turn my book. A little more glue there. Now when I lifted it up, I got some glue mess there, but the tree will cover it. So now for my tree, just going to glue it right there. Add it amongst the pine cones. Now this is where I it becomes just a little, you have to be a little careful. So I'm going to just stick some Merry Christmases here and there. Not too worried because they'll move around in the dome when I pick up the book. And we're just going to take our snow. Again, it will be moved around because we're in a kind of like a snow globe. Add your piles of snow. This up against the computer so we don't have any spills. And you can add any other little things that you like. I had a few little green ones. You can add some red ones. Check it out with your dome, see if what you're liking. Now, I'm going to use my art glue. And I'm going to go all the way around this rim. And I'm putting a nice big amount. One reason I want this art glue is it's going to give me some time to move it, but it will dry clear. You're not going to see it. I am just going to clean up a little bit on the edges because there's some snow in there. I have to lift this up. I need to get some pressure. So we do have to hold it for a second. And the glue, you can see it's starting to dry in places, and it does dry nice and clear. And you could hot glue this. I do think this glue will, the art glue will last longer. Okay. Now we've got this piece, and it too needs to be glued on. See where it's starting to really dry clear. Kind of cool to see. Okay. What I'm going to do, I want to do it right on the paper, and I'm not going to go as heavy this time. And I just did it on the wrong side. Good thing we're going to eventually put pearls and stuff there. Oh goodness. Perfectly clear. Look at that. Wiped it off. We're good. We're good. Just love this glue. It's for accident prone people like me. Now, you'll see this is going to, it has kind of a, well, it's going to poke up a little. We'll have to work it. And then, but we're going to be covering a lot of it with flowers. And you can even go smaller if you don't want this big of a border. Okay. Now, let's place that right on there. And the art glue gives you a little extra time to move things. Now, oops, forgot. My lace was down. So I'm going to open the book. We're going to work on it a little flatter. There we go. Oh, I'm just loving this. Such a cool dimension to the album cover. So I do have to play with the pushing down here for a few minutes until I'm for sure it's adhering. Now, one thing that I picked up, because, you know, I don't sell these in the store, and to be honest with you, I'm not really happy with some of the companies I've tried. These are just the Paper Studios. The reason I like these are the size. These are actually going to be going all the way around the rim. They're at Hobby Lobby, so if you need to pick some up, they're the large ones, so you'll know them because there's only 3 really long strands. And between those, and they used to have the ones at Walmart that I just loved from the Simplicity Sewing Company, but I guess they're not making them anymore. So those would be my second choice. Because I'm really funny about the color. I don't like my pearls to look super yellow. Okay. Isn't that just gorgeous? And then let me grab my bucket of this and that. Now, I may have to get, I have the Graphic 45 ones that I'm using, but thought I had some bronze ones. I really want the bronze. So let's just dump everything out of our little box. Now, a couple of other things I picked up. Now, I picked these up, and they do have them again, but I got them at the time. They were all 50% off. Are these really cool ornaments? They were 75% off at Hobby Lobby. So I know I'll be using these, so I can leave that out. Now, right now at Hobby Lobby, they do have them out. And I saw them when I was there getting this other stuff. So if you run over there, you'll be able to get them. Well, I don't know. I'm not seeing that I have any bronze ones out, but I do want to go with the Graphic 45 keyholes. And I do have these, you know, in the store because you need a key, Santa does, to get in. So I'll have to get the bronze ones. And that will go on our cover. Now, there's a couple of other things that we're going to do. This is when you want to get, now I'm not going to adhere anything down because I know that you are wanting to see the cover made, but everybody has their own decorating methods. And we're definitely going to need some chipboards, but these are the Petaloo. These were the samples, and I'll be getting these in just a couple of weeks. See, along with the pearls, then the poinsettias definitely will have to be on this. Actually, I'm just taking them all off for now with the leaves because we're going to probably use most of them. Maybe. We'll see. That's an awful lot. So this is where now you'll be able to get your stash. Like I said, I don't want to adhere the rest of this down, only because I need time to play with it, but I know you want me to get this up. So let's get this going here. So I will definitely have the Petaloo flowers down here at the bottom. Definitely a Graphic 45 doorknob. Now the thing with the doorknobs, Glossy Accents E6000 works fabulous for putting it down. And then yes, there's going to have to be a border here. So we're going to use the border of pearls all around. And your pearls, so your pearls are what's going to go down next. Let's take everything off here. What I do is I just take them right off. So they're going to come off and go on the floor. Now, they are already sticky, but let me show you. I just like to start with maybe the first 5 I do add more glue. Okay. These ones are pretty sticky. I'm loving these. Let me see. I should have another glue tip here because I really need it now. Okay. What I do is I just go along maybe the area. Oh, I'm not having good luck with my tips lately because I know I use them so much and things just are not, they're just getting too sticky. I need to wash them more often. No, it's definitely stuck, so I'll be light-handed. So what I'm going to do is just go all along there where I know I want my pearls. Sorry, we've got a little bit of the, there we go, glue. Oh no, it picked up some of the snow. That's what it did. Now, the glue also allows you to center things if you need to. And trust me, it's going to hold it down. Now I'm going to do some measuring here, and I can see that I'll have to do some add-ons. I'm just going to go very lightly. Because the look I want is I want this framed in. I want this to look like the frame. And always, always, always put your pearls down first, and we'll be putting them around there. Okay, let me pick up my pearls off the floor. Now let me just do, sometimes I've measured them and I go around and keep them in a strand, but these are kind of big. You know, where you turn the corner. Okay, if you're making this album and you have a dome and you were able to do this, you're going to love it. I just think it's really turning out pretty. Lots of pearls. Definitely a lot of personality and textures here. Dimension to it. Love the dimension. Just the popping. Everything pops. And you can see our snow's already moved around a little bit. Isn't that awesome? Because as you pick up and move your album, it will. So you could get some little deer, some really cute woodland scenes. Now I've got a little glue. Even though it's going to dry clear, I'm just going to dot these on the edge. So I'm just going to cut a few off here. I turn them upside down. Remove those, put them back on the plastic. Oh, you know another thing, and well, I'm going to put it on the outside. It would have been cute to put the key inside there. Yeah, now I start seeing things from my stash little bucket there. Sometimes you should just get all your stash stuff out first. Now my lace is being a little lifty there. And to be honest with you, I might just keep doing, I think I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to have 2 layers of pearls here. I think I am going to go to this outside. Then I'll put flowers since it's going to end there, and we'll put some flowers here. So let's just keep going. I'm really loving it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on these guys with some glue. I'm going to try, and I should have done this first, but oh, please don't grab the paper. Okay, I'm going to put them under the lace a little bit, and that's going to be a perfect place for flower. And sometimes I don't start getting really excited about the album until the cover, and I'm getting excited about this one. I'm excited. It's going to be a fun Christmas one. I've kind of come to the point where I love my children. They're married. I love my grandkids. And I make them a lot of albums. And I think I'd love to have this one for me and my husband. I want to go back, because we've been married 32 years. I think I'm going to go back to our Christmases. And I have them all from the beginning. And I'm going to put them in here for him. I think that this is going to be a Christmas gift. I'm really loving it. Okay, I have this little piece, but I'll tell you, I am going to open another package. When I'm working out here on this outer edge, I sort of want to keep them all together. So I'm going to go ahead and put these on here. Open my new package. And again, I'm going to start them with just a little glue. These are pretty sticky, but the glue, you need it there. Don't trust that adhesive for a long period of time. Okay, see, I'm a little crooked, so straighten those up, and that glue gives you that time to get your straightening up. Now, I'll just bring this more towards the inside. Or, I have some smaller ones. See, decisions. I have the hardest time on camera. Let's take that one off. Now, I'm pushing my whole strand of beads up because it's hanging over the edge just a hair. And so I'm just pushing them up. Run your hand and straighten things. And it's going to be over just a hair, but it's okay. So I'm going to put this down because I just want to go on with another full strand. Now, I'm going to kind of measure this to go underneath. And these are good size beads. I'm loving how big they are. They are like 30 centimeters. Now I'm going to start at this edge. And let's see. Good thing I'm covering this up with a lot of beads. You wouldn't notice it, but I did put the black paper on upside down. There's some words. And I just noticed the words. They're kind of in the background. That's okay. This is going to be another flower spot, even though it's an opening, because that will hide a little bit of my boo-boos here. I'm going to stop there. What I'm going to do is now put the glue on these guys, lift my lace, and I can't lift it any further. It's really glued down. We're not going to force it. And that's got glue on it, so I need to clean it before I save it. Okay, let me try. Now, I want to bring girls because we want to now, you know, bring everything in dimension. Sorry, I've just got something in my eye. Oh, goodness. The keyboard. I want these on the edge. I'm just going to add this right on top. And I have time to move it up because I need to move it up a little bit to make it top to bottom even. Now let's get our, all right, let's get things straightened. Now we've got our little strands left. So that did take 6 strands. Now I'm going to go around my dome. Just like so. Now just be grabbing these pieces. Oh, stuck together. There we go. Clean that up. Wipe off your dome. It's pretty, guys. I like it. Sticky. There we go. Get those guys butted up together. Oh, shoot. There we go. And I'm going to have to open, wow, another package. But I grabbed everything they had on the shelf, but they were 40% off and they're $3.99. So they're something you know you're always going to use. All right, so now I'm just going to kind of estimate. Then I want to take a whole strand. Turning them upside down to get an idea of how many I do need. And then you can just cut it, save it, now when working with art glue too, I should have brought down, I usually have Q-tips and I've used them all. I find that the Q-tips really help to clean up, or a toothpick with a little bit of just tissue on the end helps clean up these areas. Or just your scissors that you can get in if you need to clean up any. It's going to dry, but still, you want it to be a neat look. Okay, now that See, I'm going to have to push that in, and they'll go, especially if you're using the glue. That's on the inside. That's on the inside. No, that's some glue on the outside. And I'm just going to hold him for a minute and encourage him to go down. Let me show you. So when you pick it up and move it, can you see the snow? Oh, I'm in love. I love this album. It's going to definitely be on the mantle. This little guy is bugging me. But I think we're going to kind of be stuck with it. And it's going to be just fine. Whether it's that, I will find something. Yeah, you can see it there. Actually, and I'm going to have to take some paper with it. So I'm not going to. Just glue things back down. And push it up. Basically, these aren't going anywhere now. All right, now this is where, oh, I love, can you see how that one Merry Christmas is sticking because of static there, sort of? Love it. So what I'm going to do is, we're going to need some chipboards. So if you've got your chipboards, let me grab mine. And this is your journaling chipboards. I'm sorry, let me grab my other chipboard. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to use, well, I don't know, that Jolly St. Nick. So let me go ahead and start with these ones are the decorative chipboards. I'm gonna start, I just basically, so I don't lose them everywhere, kind of just leave them in the plastic. And I just poke them out. Love that on top of the pearls. Actually, yeah, it'll sit against the pearls. And if I glue it straight on the bottom, then I'm going to get it even more of a little bit of a dimension there. I need the poinsettias with the red and black. These little square ones. And like I said, I'm just laying them out. So that's what you're going to want to do. Take out some things, lay them out, and then again, ribbon. We're needing some, definitely, this is going to need some ribbon with the flowers. Let me just see how big I want this. Just basically wanting, you know, the floppy. It's probably not big enough. So I'm just going end over end. Over end. This is a wired one. You know, I'm kind of going big with this one. This whole, you know, cover. So before I get everything tied together, see, and then I'll bring out my tails. I have to decide on my size. I think that'll do it. I'll remove that. And let's cut another piece of the ribbon. Bring that in the middle. Tighten a knot. Well, it's not in a knot yet. I'm centering it. Now, I'm going to leave these till the end because this is where, if you want tails, these are going to be your tails, and you can cut them. Now, just open your bow. So I did 3 on each side. And you saw how easy it was to wind them. I have this little piece here, and actually it will come, I just bring them around here and then kind of to the back and cut it. That was those ends when we first started wrapping. Main thing is whatever you're doing, even especially if you're a beginner, there's no mistakes. Oh my goodness, if something's sticking out, cut it. I mean, don't think that there's a wrong way and a right way. The right way is how it works for you. Okay, just because I'm doing it one way or someone else is doing it one way, well, that's because it worked for them. It has to work for you. Okay, we're going to have us a bow up here at the top, I believe. And then definitely it's going to have to be, I don't know. See, this is very hard on camera. I just never know where I want everything. I'm thinking I really like it up here. Sometimes this wired ribbon is really fun to use because then you can get a really, really cool look. Okay, and also, especially if you're a new person, don't overthink it. I know that's when I get into, it's when I start, oh my gosh, you know, when I overthink it. If you're absolutely at a point you just can't decide and it's just not doing what you want, go to bed. Okay, let me take my bone folder while that's drying. Kind of shape that. There we go. Get more of the look I want. Now I'll just pinch it, bring it in. Now for this little guy, I still want it somewhat at an angle. I'm going to show you how I do that. Not much of the back it's going to show. I'm just going to go ahead and ink it in a little bit. So I want it, do you see how it's sitting up somewhat? So the glue's just going to go around here at the bottom and up here on the sides. I'm kind of squishing it there so it will come to the bottom. We're going to hold it. And now do you see how it's sitting up? You can even put You could put a flower back behind there if you wanted to hide it. A little bit more. Glue wasn't quite dry. But now it's leaning against the pearls. It's attached at the bottom. So now I know it's going to stay. And our next thing is just our flowers. Basically, flowers, leaves. Got to have the poinsettias. And I'll put a couple leaves back here. So we'll get that. There we go. Just sort of, you know, getting a look here that we're liking. I'm going to have to sit this there. It is going, but I can't glue it. And of course, like I said, I think I'm going to go more with the bronze. So I'll need to get one because the key I want to use is bronze. And we've got to have the Santa's key, right? Okay, let's put a few. This is again from the cut apart, or not, that I just punched out. And so it start, you know, get your stuff out, your metals, your stash, and you can just really start playing with things. Like I have these really pretty, you know, pearl. They were actually one of our kids also. So you may want to add one here, there, just depending on, you know, what you have. If you have any of these, now these are fun to really add. Yeah, rubber band. These little gold filigrees, and they're great to add among your flowers to give it, you know. But this album, I think we're good. I don't think we need it, or I could even hang the key if I had more room. It's funny, the magnet's underneath there, so I could add the key on top of there. You can add your corners. Gosh, endless. So that is our mini album, and I will get mine finished. We'll do the walkthrough when it's all finished. And so I hope this really helped. Now, one thing too, if you're not going to use a dome and you want to do a cover similar, just mount your page, cut another one, just like I did, 6.5 by 6.5. And don't, of course, you're not going to cut a circle, but you could cut a frame, or you could just lay it down, and that's going to give you this layered look to start with. Then you can use your cut aparts. So take one of your cut aparts, pick which one is your, you know, what the look you're trying to achieve. This is from the 8x8 pad, so it'll be smaller. So use one of your cut aparts, one of these, or where's our other ones, as your centerpiece. This would be perfect because the 8x8, you could actually cut this out, then layer it on top of the gold. So if you don't have a dome, or wouldn't that be cute to take a dome? Look at that. Put Santa Claus inside of that dome, a looking glass for a child. Like I said, these are $6.99 for 3. And the die cut, I can't remember how much it is, but as you can see, you do need the die. But isn't that just fabulous? But if you don't have these, that's okay. Use this as your centerpiece. Okay, so that's our cover. And I will just be adding, like I mentioned, this to the spine. And I'm just afraid the video has gone on and on and on. I'm sure that you are ready now to just get to work. So thank you, everybody. And show me. I can't wait to see everybody's albums and what they look like. And I hope you really enjoyed the tutorial. I know I did. Bye-bye.